What is the science of reading? The science of reading is a catch all term that has been used to describe research that's been done in reading over the past 50 or so years. It's primarily used with the implications of research in classroom instruction. The first step in any new goal is to have a clear understanding of the purpose and process, or the step by step guide to reaching those outcomes. The purpose of this course is to empower you, the parent, to help your child reach their reading potential. Yes, your child will have many teachers throughout their lifetime, but you are the guardian of those choices and how they acquire that knowledge from the time they are born until they begin to enter adulthood. I hope to help you realize the important role you play as your child's first teacher, and I would argue your child's most important teacher. You are a valuable ally and guide in their educational journey. You are also an important advocate for them as they navigate growing and learning in our world. The most important lessons your child will learn is your family's heritage and your family value system. I believe it's a safe bet to say you would not be exploring this course if you did not care about helping your child succeed and learn how to harness knowledge for their future benefit when they become adults. In education settings, many educators often use language or jargon that is very specific to their domain of expertise. Sometimes this can create a barrier of understanding, especially when we communicate with people that may not be as familiar with all the latest research or terminology. You may have had this experience where you attended a child's IEP meeting or even just a meeting to talk with your child's teacher. And that teacher used terms that you may have had to secretly Google after the meeting. My goal is to demystify some of it and give you a more level playing field so that you can make the best decisions for your child's educational future. The science of reading came to the forefront in the 90s, particularly in 1997, when the National Reading Panel was established to evaluate the current research and look at the best practices for classroom use. This was used to determine how children learn to read. Dr. Hugh Katz, Florida State University researcher and professor, described this process as looking at all the latest research and coming up with a generalized model. The problem with this model is it became something that was stretched out into five components. And those components, which are phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension, have been something that has become widely used in reading education today. In fact, some states have even passed laws requiring these five components be taught in the classroom. And many education publishing companies and programs use the five components of reading. Alphabetic principle, or the alphabetic knowledge, was broken into two main categories of phonemic awareness and phonics. We'll take a closer look as we discover each of those parts. But remember, while I'm going to be talking about all the five components, a lot of people tend to categorize this into models where it builds on top of each other. As Kat said, it is interrelated, but the danger in that lies in the complexity. We would think that comprehension is definitely going to be a lot more complex than learning about the alphabet, but there are some complexities in each of those elements. And those are some areas that our children need to learn in order to succeed in reading. So, looking at that alphabet knowledge specifically, we're talking about phonemic awareness, which is the sounds that children hear as they start to work with language. And more specifically, the ability to manipulate those sounds. Then we move into fluency. Now, many of us who are often tested in fluency using speed, and we may have gotten the idea that fluency is all about how many words you can read in a minute. Well, it's really not. It's more about accuracy of reading that text, then the speed, which does play a little bit of a role, and then reading it with what we call prosody or expression, being able to read all elements fluently. If you can read fluently, then you have a greater understanding of the text. And it's that understanding of the text that we need to be able to comprehend well. So then we move from fluency to comprehension. And Katz points out that comprehension, the way we traditionally think about it, when we had to learn a bunch of different skills, learn the main idea, learn the elements of a story, that plays a particular role. But the purpose is understanding what we're learning from the text or enjoying the literature. You may be wondering, well, why is it so important? Education researchers have shown us that teaching strong foundation skills rooted in high quality phonics based curriculum is beneficial for students, particularly students that may struggle with dyslexia or other reading difficulties. And this does not overly tax a student's working memory. To recap, the science of reading is the evidence based, research backed knowledge base that we have in how students learn to read. And it's the application of this to classroom instruction or generalized reading instruction that is highly beneficial for all students, but most particularly for students that tend to struggle with traditional methods of reading. Interested in learning more? Check out my new course, Unlock Your Child's Reading Potential. Science of Reading Explained with Effective Strategies for Parents. In this mobile friendly course, you will learn about the 5 scientifically based reading instructional practices currently used in many classrooms today. You'll gain in depth knowledge in the research and how it pertains to what your child is studying as they progress in their educational career from pre-K all the way up to 5th grade. You'll learn about phonemic awareness and phonics and strategies you can do to help your child progress in these areas. We'll take a closer look at the alphabetic principle and discover the complexity of English language and why it is difficult for many children to grasp reading in our language. Not only that, you will walk away with strategies you can use to help your child gain deeper knowledge in the complex language of reading and encoding or spelling. You'll gain in-depth knowledge in fluency and how it helps your child become a better reader. It's more than just that speed. You'll learn strategies you can use to help your child develop better reading skills and develop better working memory as they learn how to read, not only for speed, but most importantly for accuracy. Along the way, you'll have little checks to make sure that you're gaining the knowledge you need to ensure that your child has success in developing each one of these skills. Most importantly, we want our children to comprehend or understand the text that they're reading. So we'll take a look at comprehension, how it develops, and the strategies you can use if your child is struggling with comprehension. There are many avenues nowadays for great comprehension, and your child is not at a loss if they are struggling to learn to read effectively. We'll develop reading routines and action plans to help your child gain the skills necessary to make sure that your child is able to effectively show what they know on assessments throughout their education reading careers. You'll learn about building background knowledge and the important role it plays in many reading assessments. And you'll learn effective ways to capture that knowledge to help your child develop a wide range of broad knowledge that they can use in their reading as well as in writing. So check below in the description box and click the link to learn more about the new course, Unlocking Your Child's Reading Potential, Science of Reading Explained with Effective Strategies for Parents. On sale now for $27.